G'day guys, welcome to the draft breakdown for the new league well, not technically new league, but I'm in the Ubers Battlers Association in the Delta Division, so it's the middle division. Last season I actually helped fill in for a coach partway through the draft, which meant I had pretty bad Pokemon, and I wound up dropping out partway through because someone else wanted it, and honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of some of the decisions in how they went about constructing the league. But I'm back this season in the new generation, even if I don't necessarily have a whole lot in terms of new generational Pokemon. And hopefully, I wind up enjoying it more than I was enjoying it last season. I did wind up dropping from the Omega Division to the Delta Division, which is a new division that's in the middle. It's full of a lot of people who I have already beaten in Ubers, but whatever. Should be fun nonetheless. The Ubers Battlers Association is a bit different to a lot of others of the semi-Ubers leagues. And yes, I do say semi-Ubers because you're limited to a certain number of Ubers, and then you have the standard semi-Ubers is like one or two. This one lets you have three. In this particular season, because they decided that it's the start of a new generation, they might as well just go for a full free draft. So you get three Ubers, and then every other pick you get is free. So as long as someone else hasn't taken it, you can have it, as long as it isn't banned. Which is another reason that semi-Ubers, because there are a lot of Ubers who are banned. Whereas a true Ubers draft would not have any banned Pokemon, as well as not have a limitation on how many you can have. It is also a 12 Pokemon draft, which does make it a bit more difficult to build for. Having to build against 3 Ubers and then 9 other Pokemon can get a bit ridiculous. Hopefully I can manage it better with this team than I was able to last season. So the team that I have here, I managed to get Marshadow, which was the Pokemon that I wanted most, on the second overall pick after an Ethanatus. So I have that. Z-moves, Dynamax are banned, but Megas are not banned. So I have here the absolute legend that is Marshadow. It has ridiculous coverage. This gen it actually got given... I think this defaults to Generation 7, so it's not showing you as new moves. This generation it actually got given Aura Sphere, which helps make it have a viable special set, because otherwise it would have been using... Actually, is that even better than Hidden Power Fighting? Because that's base 90 and the Aura Sphere is on the base 80. But, basically it's an alternative to the inaccurate Focus Blast, because you can Calm Mind up, though. Obviously, 90 special attack is very usable, but it's not as good as the 125 base attack that it has. It still only has bulk up to set up. Unfortunately, it did not get Swords Dance like Solrock did. Don't ask me why Solrock got Swords Dance. I think it got some other coverage, but none of it was incredibly relevant. So, your boy. Pursuit's also banned, so this isn't a real move, sadly. Pursuit, Hidden Power Fire, Return, etc. are not moves this generation, and the league has decided that they won't be moves, but that they will be allowing transfer moves, so Pokemon who wouldn't have gotten Toxic now still get Toxic, but not new Pokemon, which is kind of why I honestly wasn't the most keen on getting new Pokemon. But yeah, he's a lot of coverage, he's very strong. Spectral Thief is like an accurate Ghost move that isn't a 2-turn move and isn't Shadow Punch, base 70 power. Base 60 power. I guess it's base 90 with Technician. Shadow Claw, so I was thinking of base 70. Yeah, ridiculous coverage. Ghost and Fighting is weak to Ghost, Flying, and Psychic, and Fairy. Which means that there are a lot of types, alongside the 2 type immunities as well as the resistance to Stealth Rock, there are a lot of Pokemon that it can use its natural 90-80-90 bulk to set up on, especially given that it's 125 speed, allows it to invest in bulk a decent amount, so it can set up bulk up, sync, or Calm Minds, or it can just run offensive. It's got priority in Shadow Sneak, it's got priority in Sucker Punch, it's got really good coverage in Stone Edge, and I believe all of the Elemental Punches? Yeah, all of the Elemental Punches. So it's certainly really strong, as well as it has Rock Tomb, which is boosted by Technician, so as well as Knockoff for utility. It's just incredibly powerful and can break through basically any Pokemon as long as you bring the right coverage. Obviously, bringing the right coverage is a little bit harder against 12 Pokemon than it is against 11, and even more so when you're playing against 3 Ubers rather than against 1 or 2. But I still think this Pokemon is very powerful, and it's not to be underestimated. I do think that it will put in work. I always think it's funny to use acrobatics with technician boost with an item, because it's nowhere near as powerful as the base 110, but it can be decent coverage against bulky fighting types, which Zen Headbutt also is, and I think it's slightly more powerful than Zen Headbutt as well as being accurate. So I'm very excited to use Marshadow. I can see a lot of ways that I might want to use it. Then the second pick I wound up going for, I'd originally wanted a few different Pokemon, and this is how wacky free drafts are. In 3 picks before me, 2 of the Pokemon that I wanted most went, being Mewtwo, who this generation got access to a ridiculous number of moves, including Nasty Plot and like Hurricane again, even though it already had Hurricane. I don't know why it got Hurricane again, but it did. It's just ridiculous now, and it made it to like 3 picks before me, and then Magina to the pick before me. So I wound up going with Shaman Sky, Skyman, 120 base special attack, 100 base HP, 127 base speed. I like the base speed increase as well as the 103 physical attack. It can set up, not specially, it can't do that, but it does have sword stats, so if I wanted to run a physical set I could. It doesn't have very good coverage on the physical side, sadly, but it has Serene Grace, which means that it has a 60% chance to flinch with Air Slash, and it has... It's not showing Seed Flare. Seed Flare, for some reason, is a usually useless move. An 80% chance to drop a special defense by 2 stages with Seed Flare. That combined with its good speed, its ground immunity, as well as a 4x resistance to grass, though it doesn't unfortunately share a flying weakness with Marshadow. It can be pretty good. Pretty strong. I think you'd a lot of times wind up running like a Leech Seed set, but between like fairy coverage, ground coverage, stuff, its main problem is that is flying types, and breaking through opposing flying types can be quite an issue for it, as well as an issue for Marshadow, but I think I patched that up kind of well with the rest of my team. I think I could have done better. So hopefully that does wind up working out pretty well. I'm pretty excited to use Shaman Sky. I love regular Shaman. I'm not sure if I like it quite as much, given that it does lose the bulk, but hopefully I will. Then we have Mew. Mew got more moves this generation. It's just they're not here because the annoying thing for some reason. But Mew got Dragon Dance. It got Psychic Fangs, which is an accurate Psychic Stab, so it doesn't have to rely on Zen if you want to run a Sword Dance set or a Dragon Dance set. It's just got everything. It just has so many moves now, like Power Whip, because it needed Power Whip. It has every move. All of the new technical records as well as the new TMs, it has. So it just has an obnoxious amount of coverage. It's crazy. It's really fun preparing with it. Just the fact that you can run basically any set, and the 100 round stats. Actually, with Triple Pixie, you guys might notice, with the Skyman, Mew, and Manaphy. These stats are incredibly flexible. The coverage that it gets, the fact that it now gets spikes and toxic spikes, as well as a rapid spin, which boosts its speed 1 stage, is insane. Mew is ridiculous this generation. I'm very glad that I got it. I definitely think it was worth getting in round 3. Then the last Uber I got, my third Uber pick, was Genesect. I don't know, I'm not sure how I feel about Genesect yet. In previous generations, this Pokemon spends a time in OU until they realize that it's slightly too broken to be in OU, and it goes to Ubers and then does nothing there. But in draft, it feels pretty good. Download means that you get an attack or special attack boost of 1 stage, which, if you know what kind of Pokemon your opponent is bringing, and they don't specifically EV to give you the wrong download, which, in my opinion, is something that you kind of, at times, do need to do to be able to deal with Genesect, which is a good thing, then you can just run through a team with a Choice Spec set, a Life Orb set, Choice Scarf, as well as a very strong, not Rock Polish, Shift Gear setup set to get that +1 attack. Bug and Steel is one of my favorite dual typings. I think it is honestly just one of the absolute best if you have good fire type checks, which I feel that I do on this team, at least in some sets. It just can break through basically anything. It's like it has coverage of basically of almost every type. Right, like it recommends hidden power fighting, and it doesn't get water coverage, but even then, it's got the Douse drive so that you can run Technoblast for water type. All the other drives, I'm pretty sure, I believe it gets what Flamethrower and Blaze Kick. It gets Ice Beam, which you saw, and Thunderbolt. So it gets Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, so it really only ever needs Douse drive. So that is an option if I run into a Pokemon that I'd be able to break through with it. It's insane how much it can do. And if you need it, if you get 120 base attack and you get a special attack boost and you you have a physical attack boost and you run a choice band because you just need a nuke one game and you just explode, something dies. It's ridiculous how strong Genesect is. Can be if you use it well, I find. Sometimes it can be very difficult to pull off and sometimes it can be very effective. Nothing wrong with a nice powerful stab U-turn. Then I got Dog Trio, which is just still broken. Arena Trap is legal, so they have their one bulky Pokemon that doesn't lose to Mew, or Manaphy, or Skyman, and then I kill it. And then it is dead. Because that's what Dog Trio does. It just kills Pokemon. Final Gambit is over 35 base HP. It can definitely put in work if you needed to. Just Choice Band Earthquakes, Choice Scarf Stone, literally whatever you needed to. Dog Trio, most of the time, can do what you need it to. At times, it even gives you the ability to select setup by being able to come in on a Pokemon and just Memento, so that you can get very free setup. I think it got new moves this generation. Let me just check. I'm not sure they were anything incredibly relevant. Losing a Pursuit is a bit annoying versus Ghost types, but most of the time Dog Trio doesn't really effectively pursue Ghost types because of its relatively low attack. The buff it got to its attack last generation was phenomenal. Let me just pull this up. Whereabouts in Pokedex is Dog Trio? There are actually so many Gen 1 Pokemon. Ah, that's right. It got high horsepower because just fuck Bulu, I guess. Or Rillaboom, rather. Alongside Ally Switch for doubles, which is just I don't know why they did this. Yeah, high horsepower is good because it just lets you ignore grassy terrain in the matchups where grassy terrain is a problem. Which it's just so dumb. And it gets rocks. And if you have an opponent's Pokemon, which is an electric type locked into an electric move, you just get up rocks for free. It can Focus Sash Reversal, which is very strong as well. It's just a ridiculously good Pokemon. And if you have Real Rapid Spin or Defog Mew, you can just kill their Hazard Setter, their only Hazard Setter, or their only Setter of the hazard you're particularly worried about. Say it's a Sticky Webber, you just kill it with Dog Trio, and then they don't have hazards or in the game. It's just dumb how effective Dog Trio can be. I don't think it's a very competitive ability, but it's certainly very strong. Manaphy is another Pixie, base 100 in every stat. This one actually gets Carmine, and also gets the Broken Ass. I don't know why the moves aren't showing up. The new generation stuff is weird. Tail Glow, +3 special attack, very strong off of the base 100 special attack. Getting that up to +3, I think. I think it's not even that much more than Megazam after a Calm Mind, but it's still very strong. Surf, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam just actually gets something doesn't get Scald. Something doesn't get Scald. Manaphy and Shaman, there are 3 Pixies which didn't get new moves this generation. Manaphy, Shaman, and Victini. And I'm very smart, so I drafted two of the 3. Celebi and Jirachi got some pretty good buffs this generation, as well as the Mew, obviously. Just in terms of more coverage that they both get Psychic Fangs now as well. But yeah, just Manaphy's another one with really good coverage. Very little walls it at +3 if you bring the right set, as well as it can run a lot of utility. The knockoff is very strong. I don't think it gets Thunder Wave, which is admittedly sad, because Thunder Wave's a good move. But it is ridiculously good. I think it is a very strong Pokemon, and I'm very glad to have it. Just it's if I guess I do technically have a fire type. I kind of forgot, but yeah, having a fast bulky water type is always very good. Then we go to my fast Pokemon, which is Mega Aerodactyl, 150 speed, 135 base special attack, 80, 85, 95 defenses are pretty solid. It's slightly bulkier than Skyman, I think is how the math. No, slightly less bulky than Skyman, but 150 base speed means a lot of time you don't need to invest a lot into speed, which leaves a lot of free HP, EVs for HP. Powerful, strong stab, stone edge, defog, stealth rock, roost for recovery. It's got roar to help phase and reject opposing, and whirlwind more importantly. It's got taunt. It can toxic things because I can toxic things in this generation. Unfortunately, this Pokemon did not get new moves this generation because it's a fossil and none of the fossils came into this game. But it's still very strong, and I'm very glad to have it on my team. I don't think I wound up YouTubing it, but actually, one of the second draft league I ever won, I won with Mega Aerodactyl on my team. So I'm very happy to have it back. Sylveon, this boy, this mon definitely got a new move this generation. Just pop on Pixelate. Pixelate Hyper Voice is still very strong. Unfortunately, it can't Pixelate Return, so Mimi Choice Banded Sylveon is less likely, but honestly, it's not as good in the Ubers format anyway. But it got Mystical Fire, so losing hidden powers, and there are no hidden powers in this game, in this league, but losing hidden powers doesn't really matter when you have HP Fire, just as a move, but stronger. Base 75 and 100% chance to drop special attack is very nice. 130 special defense is very strong. 95 is very nice to pass wishes along because I've got, Marshadow, Genesect, Dugtrio obviously, but I don't think I'd be likely to wish pass into it. Aerodactyl, Hydreigon, Toxapex, Porygon 2, and Alolan all have less than 95 base HP, and then Mew and Manaphy are not much over it, and Skymin. So none of those Pokemon dislike 95 base HP, especially if it's max invested pass into them. I think you can Baton Pass, but you can't Baton Pass stats, so I think that's Mew also gets Baton Pass. I don't think Manaphy does. I know Aerodactyl doesn't. I think Marshadow got it this generation. I know a few Pokemon got Baton Pass new this generation. I know Jirachi was one of them. I'm sure that Skyman and Manaphy would have gotten it if they were in the generation, but sadly no. No, what else did Marshadow get this generation? Oh no, just Hex and Blaze Kick and Reversal. I mean, Reversal's a bit of a meme. Nice base, 150 power max, right? Alright, it's not showing up. But yeah, very strong this generation. The fact that it doesn't have to run hidden power is nice, even if there is no hidden power. Heal Bell is good support for the team, because if my bulkier Pokemon, like Mew, or my offensive mons like Skyman and Marshadow get toxic, I can clear that out, which is pretty nice. And yeah, the fact that I can bring Toxic with it is very nice as well. So now we want to go to very important very important Pokemon that somehow was still around at the time. I was like, I could really do with a Fire Resist that isn't Manaphy. As you can tell, I kind of was like, shit, I need Fire Resist towards the end. With the Skyman specifically. Skyman Genesect more so. So I went with Hydreigon, who definitely got a few new moves this generation. Just a few. Where is it? Let me find. He got Nasty Plot off of his base 125 special attack. Boy, Nasty Plot to set up, and I mean, if you guys have been watching my PDL season, you can see that I run Hydreigon with anything that I can to boost his special attack. And they gave the boy Nasty Plot. What the fuck? That's so dumb. I love it. Not only that, but they gave it Dragon Dance as well. What? Why would you even do that? It gets Hydro Pump as well, because, no hidden powers, whatever. I got Hydro Pump if I need to blast through defensive fire, something. I just have Hydro Pump because I do. You know, because Diancie is just not okay. Even though I have Earth Power and Flash Cannon. Just Dragon Dance as well. You know, you get the nice Earthquake, of course. You've got your Crunch, you've got your Outrage, you've got your Fire Fang, and you've got Head Smash, and Ice Fang, and just Stone Edge, and U-Turn. It's just ridiculous. This Pokemon, I think, has gone from one of my favorite Pokemon that for some reason randomly gets put in Tier 2, and I'm like, I think it's pretty borderline between Tier 1 and Tier 2, to absolutely Tier 1 and absolutely phenomenal in Tier 1. Just because it has so many more options now. The choice item ones were already really good sets. Defensive Roost was already a really good set. It lost Roost this generation, but because of allowing transfer moves, it gets Roost, it gets Toxic, it gets, was there something else it lost? I know it lost Roost and Toxic. Let me just quickly check. I think it lost some other moves. Okay, it's not showing them. Oh, Defog. And it gets Defog still. My hazard removal is pretty iffy at this point because at this point it's currently Hydreigon, Aero, and Mew after I finish the draft, and then my hazards are Spikes, T-Spikes, Rocks on Mew, Rocks on Dugtrio, Rocks on Aero, and Toxic Spikes on Pex, and Rocks on Marowak. Which admittedly is a bit iffy, but that's how it is. But yeah, Hydreigon, ridiculously powerful, ridiculously offensive. The 98 speed is really good in the Ubers, in an Ubers league, because 98, a lot of Ubers hit 90 or 95, especially more recent ones. A lot of them tend to hit 95, like you got your Curums, and you've got your Tapu Lele, so on and so forth. Really strong. Ridiculous that they gave it all of this. No Z-moves allowed in this league does mean I can't get off the nice C-Belch. But honestly, who cares? Just, it's so good. The double hazard thing is really nice. It's just, how do they give this mon so much? I don't understand. I love this Pokemon. Just seems like out of all of the mythicals, like it just got the most love, for sure. Then I got Pex. Please don't hate me. Really good defensive stats. Per generator. I really wanted a poison type, and I wanted another fire resist. I looked at the options, and I was like, well, Pex is good because no one has Landorus, and someone actually dropped my week 2 opponent before week 1. For week 2, dropped Reshiram for Landorus, and I'm like, well, guess they really don't like Toxapex, huh? Because I've got, Skyman, Aero, and Hydreigon in terms of ground immunities. I guess they really just don't want to, they're just not a fan of the Pex. But, you know, Pex is Toxapex, no hidden powers, but it didn't really tend to use them anyway. Still has Ice Beam, still gets Knock. I think it got Hydro Pump, of all moves. I think it got, Hydro Pump, and I think it may have gotten another move new this generation. Let me check. Cross Poison, yes. The choice band set is now still the same, because why would you use Cross Poison when you could just Poison Jab? It's just weaker. Yeah. Toxapex is ridiculously, it's very good defensively, because you can dedicate to whichever one defense you need, and still be fine. You'll have 320 special defense if you're on a full physically defensive set, or you can adapt it between them. 50 HP is admittedly pretty low, as well as it's very passive, but the amount of Pokemon that it can just wall, that it can Baneful Bunker, that it can set up Toxic Spikes on, is just obnoxiously ridiculous, as well as with Scald Burns is still broken. Toxapex is still a very powerful Pokemon. I think this is actually the first time I have ever drafted it, in all honesty. Might be maybe the second, but I think this is the first time. I don't have another regen mon with me, except for, the boy. But, obviously, it's not a regen mon in a lot of matchups. But I think that's fine. I think it's really good. There were rumors they were going to nerf Regenerator. They didn't. So, he's Pex. It's just Pex. Dressed Prex. And then, to combine with Pex, I got another Cancer Storm mon of Porygon 2. Because, why wouldn't I? Just everything. Just, it doesn't die, except when it does. 85, 90, 95 is ridiculous when boosted by Eviolite. It has reliable recovery, unlike Type Null, who is the other ridiculous Eviolite Pokemon at 95, 95, 95. It's a ghost immunity for my two ghost types, my Mew, because otherwise my only ghost resist was Hydreigon, and a number of ghosts do get fighting or fairy coverage, like Gengar gets Dazzling Gleam and Focus Blast, so on and so forth. So a lot of the fighting coverage honestly just does not go through Porygon 2. I think this is pretty strong. I'm pretty confident in being able to use it somewhat well, at least. It's another Pokemon that I don't think I've used before. But, you know, it's got recovery and it's got strong moves. And it's got download as well, like Genesect, so that can help it to severely reduce its passiveness, as well as analytic if Pokemon switch around, or because it is just generally fairly slow. And it gives me Trick Room support if at any point I want to run a Trick Room offense thing between like Alolan and Sylveon, or like theoretically I could, I mean to some extent I could just slap an Iron Ball on any of these Pokemon but Aero if I need to. Or if the team matchup is really fast, I could even just run like Raw, Hydreigon, and Trick Room. But Alolan was my last one. There were a few. I just wanted something to wall Steel types, and I felt like I had good enough Earthquake answers. So I went with Alolan. Alolan has Lightning Rod, which means it's moved to Electric, as well as my only other Pokemon who's immune to Electric was Dugtrio, as well as in some situations Porygon 2. Rockhead means it doesn't take recoil from Flare Blitz. With a Thick Club, its base 80 attack is doubled, which means more than base 160 attack, so I think it winds up slightly more powerful than a pre-Intrepid Sword boost Zacian Crowned. Unfortunately, you then get the Intrepid Sword boost, just to be rude. It's just slightly more powerful than Curon Black without an item. So it's pretty good. It's got okay coverage, including, notably, it's not coming up here, but Boomerang hits twice, which is good because substitutes are very rude. So it's pretty good. He's just a decently strong Pokemon, and he has Perish Song for, like, Cosmic Power Pokemon that are just obnoxious. And he's very bulky, and he is another Stealth Rock option, for a few of the reasons that I wound up going for him. I just thought that having a second Ghost type would be pretty nice. Hopefully you guys wind up enjoying the season. I'm pretty excited to use a number of these Pokemon. I have not used Alolan Marowak since I want to say mid-2018? No, it would have been early 2018. I had it for a draft that started at the end of 2017 and ended in early 2018. So I haven't used Alolan in draft since then. I don't think I've ever used Porygon 2, Toxapex, Manaphy. I mean, obviously Skyman and Marshadow and Genesect I've never used before. And the Pokemon I have used before, like Sylveon, Megadactyl, Hydreigon, I have had very good experiences with, as well as Dugtrio. I had this in another Ubers League that wound up dying, but it was ridiculous, just because you got to kill Pokemon. It was better there because I had a Xerneas, and the fact that Dugtrio is very good at trapping Steel and Poison types is very good for Xerneas. Not that Xerneas honestly has that much difficulty dealing with any Pokemon, with some coverage, but yeah. I hope you guys enjoy. I think I've got a very good speed tier system. I've got the 125, 127, 150 on the high end. I've got like the 199, 100, which is pretty strong. Then I've got the Dugtrio at 120, so there's not too much of... There's not a massive gap. There's still a gap between Manaphy and Dugtrio, which is a bit unfortunate. But the 98, 99, 100 can be really annoying for people who are trying to like speed creep. Pex, Porygon, and Alolan are very slow, which is good. Sylveon is pretty mid-speed. I do have a gap, unfortunately, between this and Hydreigon, as well as Alolan, Porygon 2 as well, and Hydreigon, which is a bit unfortunate, so that means a lot of Pokemon around like 95 speed, so on and so forth, can run very little speed investment. And I might look at patching that up with a trade at some point, or a transaction, either or. But currently, I'm pretty happy with a lot of the Pokemon on this team, and I hope that you guys are as well. And I hope you guys enjoy this season. It's my first time doing video recording for an Ubers League. Obviously, it's a new generation as well, and I just thought this would be a fun league to show off. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. I will see you for week 1.